Parenting Skills for the Real World, Love and Belonging for Personality Assessments. Real quick, a little self-evaluation. Think of 2 moments in the last several days that you added caring habits rather than destructive habits. If you can't think of anything quickly, then maybe keep a small piece of paper with you on the go, or you can have an app on your phone that's a notepad that you actually give yourself credit for this. This is important for us to continue to do. As you're getting all this new information, it can feel overwhelming, and you need to give yourself credit for any progress that you've made. Even if you only add 1 caring habit a day, that's more than you were doing before, and it's important to give yourself credit for that. First, we'll go over all the categories in detail, then we'll head over to the workbooks to help you apply the information. Each category is unique to each person, as well as its degree of importance. You'll see that very clearly in the workbook, but keep that in mind as you're going along, and we'll discuss that. For love and belonging, these are just some of the things that you might consider fall into this category. I've asked a lot of people, when I say love and belonging, what do they think of? And this is the list we came up with. Friendship, cooperation, involvement, caring, relationship, connection, trust, concerned about the well-being of others, closeness, getting to know new people, relating, intimacy, family, support, companionship. So I've listed off so many different things. But like I mentioned before, each category is unique to each person as well as its degree of importance. So when we go to the workbooks, you'll see that with love and belonging, you will give it a scale level of how important love and belonging is to you, and then how important you think it is to the person, the child that you're trying to improve behavior with, or any other relationship that you would like to improve. That's just the overall love and belonging importance. Within that, perhaps friendship is not as important to you as family. Perhaps intimacy is more important to you than involvement. But what does that even mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each one quickly, and I'm going to tell you what it means to me. And the reason why I'm doing that is you're either going to agree, disagree, or kind of be somewhere in between. So as you listen, it's not a right or wrong. It's just going to have you hear someone else's subjective viewpoint on this information and allow you to kind of figure out, okay, well, I don't agree with that, or I totally agree with that, or I'm kind of here, and allow you to see your views on stuff you may have never really thought about before. We're going to do this for each category. So, friendship. I consider friendship important. However, I don't need lots and lots of friends to feel happy. I like to have a smaller amount of friends that I'm very close with and I'm very loyal to and that I give my time to. That's my definition of friendship. I have a very close friend who she will make a new friend everywhere we go. I will get up in a restaurant to go to the bathroom, and I know that most likely when I get back, she won't be at the table. She will be talking to the table next to us because that is her need for friendship. She just meets everybody and wants to talk to them. What's important is I don't take it personally as if she's so bored that she needed to start talking to other people around us. However, some people who don't quite understand her need for friendship might take that personally. So that's something, a nice example to see how we both value friendship, but we value it with different weight and in a totally different way. Cooperation. This isn't about control. This is just about more of a balance. When I think of cooperation, I think of balance and the compromise I discussed as a win-win-win. It's not about one person being a dominant personality, always getting their way. Involvement. I can be very involved, but at the same time, I like to have really strong boundaries and enjoy some downtime to rest and recover. I spent a good part of my 20s burning both candles at both ends, and I paid very very dearly for that with my health. And once I realized that my actions were causing my health to not be so good, I started to change how I looked at involvement and my need to fulfill that. Caring. Caring can be how you feel about other people, or it could be important on how others care about you. So that could be very, very unique. Relationship, that could be your relationship with your child. When I give information, I don't think I should be my child's best friend. I'm her parent, but we have a bond that's unique from friendship. So that's our unique relationship. Other people are married and they have a relationship that I necessarily wouldn't be interested in when I hear them talk about their marriage or the way that they have both decided to have their marriage. But it's not a judgment. It's just not how I personally see marriage for myself and how I want to fulfill that particular relationship. Connection. This can be very, very important with you and your children. How do you connect with them? For me, my connection, we can have things that we're interested in, or the fact that we can just hang out on the couch while I read a book and she's watching TV or playing her DS, and we feel comfortable in the silence without needing to fill it. Trust. We went over this before. For me, love and belonging, trust is very, very important. But it starts with ourselves. And again, these categories can be fulfilled within ourselves. What is your level of trust with yourself? What is your level of caring for yourself? What is your involvement for yourself? I see a lot of people, especially parents, who kind of quote unquote let themselves go, their health and many other different things, well, because they're a parent and they don't have time. But it's kind of like on the airplane where you have to put the mask on yourself before you help your child. It is a loving thing to care for yourself in a balanced way and be involved in that way and role model to your child eating healthy, a balanced amount of exercise so that you can have self-confidence that they can learn from. Concerned about the well-being of others. This is very important to me. I'm a special education teacher. I know just about every student at my school. I care about them very much. I have my students for years and years. Through almost every year that they are in elementary school, they are with me. That is a huge amount of care I have for their well-being and the relationship that I develop with their parents, as well as when I work outside of the school in a private consulting level. I don't do it just because I'm trying to get rich quick. The path that I've chosen for my profession has everything to do about being concerned about the well-being of others. Closeness. I explained that with friendship, closeness to me is important with a small amount of people. That makes me feel comfortable. But I know a lot of people who need to feel close to many, many people, and that's okay. It's not about right or wrong. Getting to know new people. I like this to some degree. I like to travel and meet new people for just a few minutes and have a chat with them as I continue on. But at the same time, I'm also content with just sitting in silence and enjoying the scenery and looking at beautiful things. Relating. This is really important to a lot of people on how you relate to one another. But I think that is really specific to each person. So I would describe relating as how you kind of communicate with one another and you're able to, again, go back and make a connection. Intimacy. My first thought is sexual intimacy, just right off the bat, but there are many forms of intimacy. You know, you can have your romantic partner be very close and intimate with you, but then you have a very close friend that has an intimacy with you in a totally different way that is totally appropriate and not violating any type of boundaries from your marriage or whatever your romantic relationship is. But it's unique intimacy, just a special bond, almost like an intimate inside joke. At least that's how I look at it. Family. I find family important, But my family starts with myself and my daughter, and then it goes to my parents and my sisters. I don't necessarily have to have my sisters in my life on a regular basis for me personally. I know people who are very, very close with their siblings, but for me, I've traveled a lot and I don't mind spending time with them whatsoever. I have some siblings I prefer to spend more time with just because we're closer and we have more in common and we enjoy our time together. But it doesn't bring me fear and apprehension around the holidays. I've managed to create situations where I'm okay and I'm comfortable with the boundaries if I don't necessarily have a big connection with every single family member. Support. Being supportive, I find that important. I like to do a lot of different things. I might have this idea one day and then kind of that idea steers off into another direction. And I've had people in my life who kind of criticize that about me. And I know that I found that kind of off-putting. It made me distance myself from them, definitely. So when someone is supportive of any changes I like to do, rather than being the crab that likes to pull someone back down into the barrel, that's incredibly important to me, because I feel like being supportive is almost a trust as well. They can support me because they trust my abilities, that I will, follow on my path. And even if I change my direction, there was a purpose behind it. Companionship. This can be friends, this can be your romantic partner, this can be your children. And one of the things you can look at as we've gone through this that's really important is for love and belonging. I personally feel that there is no one person that can fill your need for each category. And that really gives us strength when we can find ourselves as one of those people that can fulfill that category by loving ourselves and finding our own sense of belonging. Because when you don't have that for yourself, it is a very lost feeling. And also having different people that provide a different facet of love and belonging into your life. That is completely my subjective opinion on what love and belonging in the category means to me. So now that you've heard that, take a moment to think, what does love and belonging look like to you? As you were doing that, did you totally disagree and be like, oh my gosh, where in the world did she even come up with that assessment on support? That is just crazy. It's okay. I get that a lot. I'm told all day long by children that I am a very silly teacher. And then I tickle them, and I don't know why they think I'm so silly. But we did just have a very big debate on Batman versus Superman. So maybe they thought my input on Batman was silly. I don't know, but it was valid. But again, what does love and belonging look like to you? And what does love and belonging look like to them? As a parent, love and belonging for your child, specifically about what does it look like for them, will change. And sometimes that's kind of heartbreaking when your little toddler starts to no longer need you. And we want to still kind of do those cutesy little things for them. However, the best thing we can do as parents is to not have them need us. So the more we can allow them to do for themselves, the more independent they can be, and the more they can have pride in that ability to do that. I still remember when my child was in elementary school and I would tuck her in every night, and one night she told me that she was a big girl and she didn't need that anymore. And I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. I like how you were able to talk to me about that. And I closed the door, and then I cried because she didn't need me to do that anymore. And as you see your child's need for different categories change, these are milestones that we deep down inside know that we're moving on to another thing, and it will never help, if we're in a healthy situation, really go back into where they were a toddler or a 5-year-old, or what their needs were when they were in 2nd grade. And that's okay for us to have some sadness or even negative feelings when it goes with that. But it is good to realize that is normal for that to happen.